Welcome back, everyone. You know we love keeping you up to date on all the big things happening in the global media scene. And let me tell you, February 2025 is already proving to be a wild ride.
Definitely a lot going on.
We're seeing some major shakeups, power moves, and some really cool new projects in the works.
Yeah, it's a really dynamic landscape right now. We've got a ton of sources to unpack. Industry news, festival announcements, executive moves, and some big deals going down.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll be completely in the loop on what's shaping the entertainment world, from Hollywood to the UK and everywhere in between. So are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely. Let's get started.
Okay, let's start with the Sunshine State, California. It's the heart of Hollywood, but as everyone knows, it's been facing some challenges.
Yeah, California's definitely been feeling the heat.
So to try to stay competitive, California is putting some serious money on the table with these new tax incentives for film and TV productions. But is it enough? The fires and rising costs have created a bit of a perfect storm, haven't they?
It's a tricky situation.
Do you think these tax breaks are enough to keep productions in California?
Well, it's a good question. On the one hand, these tax incentives send a clear message that California is serious about staying in the game. They're trying to attract productions back and revitalize the industry.
But is it just about the money?
That's the thing. It's not just about the money. The industry also needs to address the bigger picture, like the skyrocketing cost of housing and the challenges of finding and keeping top talent.
Right, all these factors are intertwined, and then you have this whole stay alive till 25 and stay in LA movement trying to rebuild the spirit of Hollywood.
Exactly. It's more than just rebuilding physical studios.
It makes you wonder, can Hollywood really reclaim its place as the undisputed king of entertainment?
It's a pivotal moment for Hollywood, that's for sure. The decisions made now will shape the industry for years to come. It's a complex situation, but the industry's shown time and again that it's resilient. I'm sure they'll adapt.
Let's hope so. Okay, so California's fighting to hold on to its crown. But now, let's hop across the pond to the UK, where things are getting shaken up in a big way.
Oh yeah, big time.
We're talking about a major earthquake in the UK film industry with the sudden closure of MPC, a visual effects giant.
It's a huge shock. This was a company that worked on some of the biggest blockbuster films out there, like Disney's Mufasa, The Lion King, just to name one.
Exactly. MPC was a VFX powerhouse. What kind of impact is this going to have on the UK film industry?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, but it's going to create a gap that smaller, more nimble VFX studios could fill. This could be their chance to shine.
You think so?
It's possible. But it also makes you wonder about the bigger picture. Why did a company as established as MPC collapse? What kind of pressures are these companies facing?
It's definitely a warning sign. And speaking of shakeups, there's another big move happening in the UK. Charlotte Moore, the BBC's content head, is leaving and heading to Sony Pictures Television.
A big move indeed.
The BBC Director General even called her a creative powerhouse. And, get this, Disney tried to get her earlier this year, but she chose Sony instead. What do you think about that?
It's interesting, isn't it? It suggests that Sony is making some strategic moves to attract the best talent and maybe even shake things up a bit. It'll be interesting to see what Moore does with Sony's global content strategy.
Agreed. Okay, so we've got MPC's closure sending shockwaves through the VFX world and Charlotte Moore making a power move to Sony. What do you think all of this means for the future of films and TV shows coming out of the UK?
Well, it's hard to predict the future, but change is definitely in the air. MPC's closure could lead to more opportunities for smaller VFX studios, and Moore's move to Sony might signal a shift in focus, maybe even a bolder move into international co-productions. It's definitely a time of transition, and who knows, maybe even transformation for the UK film and TV scene.
It's definitely a lot to watch. Okay, so we've covered California and the UK, but now let's get to what we're all really excited about. The content itself.
Right, what's coming up next?
What new projects are in development, and who are the brilliant minds behind them?
Well, one project that caught my eye is Deep Cuts. It's a new A24 film starring Saoirse Ronan and Austin Butler and directed by Sean Durkin.
Okay, now this sounds really interesting. A24 is known for finding those edgy, under-the-radar stories that become instant classics. What do you think they see in Deep Cuts?
Well, A24 has a knack for spotting talent and picking projects that really capture the spirit of the times. They're not afraid to take risks, and they often support films that challenge norms and push boundaries.
So what's Deep Cuts all about?
It's based on a novel by Holly Brickley and is set in the 2000s. It follows two young adults obsessed with music who are navigating the challenges of adulthood and ambition.
Sounds like a classic coming-of-age story with that signature A24 twist. I'm sold. And speaking of captivating stories, let's talk about Jamie Campbell Bower joining the Rings of Power for season 3.
Oh yes, the fantasy epic continues.
He's been cast as a handsome, highborn knight, and the rumors are flying about a possible love triangle with Galadriel.
Love triangles. Never a dull moment in Middle-earth.
I know. I have to admit, I'm a sucker for a good fantasy series. What do you think it is about these kinds of shows that keeps people coming back for more? What's the magic formula?
Well, I think there's just something timeless about stories of good versus evil, epic battles, and fantastical creatures.
Pure escapism.
Exactly. A chance to get lost in worlds of magic and adventure.
It's not just escapism, though, right? There's often a deeper layer to these stories. Themes of courage, loyalty, the battle between light and darkness.
Got it. It's that mix of escapism and deeper meaning that makes these stories so powerful. They tap into our fascination with the unknown and our desire for heroic journeys.
I love it. Okay, so we've got A24 diving into the complexities of ambition and the Rings of Power serving up epic fantasy drama. Now let's shift gears a bit and take a look at the business side of the entertainment industry. The deals, the distribution, and this ever-changing digital world.
The wheels are always turning behind the scenes.
Speaking of which, YouTube is making some big moves. Their VP for EMEA, Pedro Pina, had a lot to say at MIP London about how the platform is changing the game.
Yeah, Pina really emphasized YouTube's focus on accessibility.
What do you mean?
Well, more people are watching YouTube on TVs now, and they're making their content available on every device. They're meeting viewers where they are.
That makes sense. How does YouTube see its relationship with traditional media companies? Are they rivals or collaborators?
That's the interesting part. Pina emphasized that YouTube sees itself as a partner, not a competitor, to traditional media. They have revenue-sharing models and tools to help creators build their audience. They're even encouraging producers to test new ideas on YouTube.
So they're playing the long game. But what about this frenemy dynamic with traditional media? Is it just a temporary truce?
That's a great question. And a good example of this dynamic is the Sidemen, a group of popular YouTubers who've partnered with Fremantle, a big traditional media company.
Right. They had a smash hit with their Supermarket Sweep reboot, and now they're looking to get the rights to even more of Fremantle's shows.
It's a win-win for both sides. Fremantle taps into the Sidemen's massive online audience, and the Sidemen get to make different kinds of content and maybe reach a whole new audience.
It really does show how the lines between traditional media and digital content are blurring. It's exciting to see what kind of collaborations come out of this shift. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive, from Hollywood power struggles to UK industry shakeups and YouTube's evolving role.
Woo! So much going on.
You're only getting started. Are you ready to dive even deeper into the ever-changing global media landscape?
Absolutely, I'm ready for more. Welcome back to our deep dive into the global media world. We've already seen some big changes happening in California and the UK, and we've gotten a glimpse at some really exciting new projects.
And now let's talk about how all of this amazing content is actually getting out to audiences.
Yeah, how does it all work?
With streaming services, social media, and all these platforms popping up, it can feel like a bit of a maze.
It really is. It's a very complex landscape. But we have some expert insights from Janet Brown.
Oh, who's that?
She's the president of Global Content Sales at BBC Studios. And she had some interesting things to say about adapting to this crazy, rapidly changing media world.
Like what?
Well, especially in terms of distribution. How do you get your content out there?
So what's the BBC's plan in this new world order?
Are they holding on to traditional broadcasting, or are they trying new things?
Right. Are they going to sink or swim?
Well, it seems like they're doing a bit of both. Brown talked about their goal of bringing in $1.5 billion for the BBC by 2026-27.
Wow.
So that suggests they're still pretty committed to their traditional model.
They're not jumping ship quite yet.
Right, but they are realizing they need to change things up.
Just stay in the game.
Exactly. Brown highlighted their partnerships with other media companies like ZDS Studios, France Televisions, and PBS.
Interesting.
And they're also making moves in Asia. It's clear they're trying to reach a wider, more global audience.
So collaboration is key these days.
Seems like it. It's like everyone's realizing they can achieve more by working together than by going it alone.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
And Brown also talked about the rise of something called AVOD.
What's AVOD?
It stands for Advertising-Based Video on Demand. And FAST.
Fast S2. What's that?
That's free ad-supported streaming television. Basically, these models are becoming more popular because people want more affordable ways to access content.
It makes sense. With so many subscription services out there, people are looking for cheaper options.
Yeah, especially with ads becoming more targeted and less annoying.
Right. So it's not all bad.
Yeah.
Which brings us to another trend we're seeing, the rise of festivals and markets as platforms for showcasing and discovering new content.
Festivals are becoming so important, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not just for celebrating famous filmmakers anymore. They're becoming crucial launch pads for new talent and independent productions.
Exactly. It's where they can get noticed and maybe even get those big distribution deals.
Speaking of festivals, we have a lot of festival news to discuss. Starting with Safe Harbor, a new drama series from the co-creator of Ozark.
Oh, wow. Ozark was so good.
Right. So Safe Harbor has already been picked up by several big broadcasters like ITV in the UK, Virgin Media Television in Ireland, and SBS in Australia.
It has a great cast, too.
Oh, who's that?
It has a really international cast. And the story dives into this world of a hacker and his friend who get caught up in organized crime.
A hacker and organized crime. Sounds intense.
And with an international cast, too.
It sounds like it has all the makings of a global hit.
And it shows there's a real appetite for these high-quality drama series that can cross borders and appeal to diverse audiences.
Now, let's switch gears to the True False Film Fest, a festival known for its documentaries.
Loved that festival.
This year's lineup looks amazing.
Really interesting documentaries from all over the world. True False is all about showcasing creative nonfiction, shining a light on those stories that often get overlooked.
And their opening night film is special, right?
It is. It's called Seeds.
Seeds. What's it about?
It's directed by Brittany Shine and actually just won the Grand Jury Prize for U.S. Documentary at Sundance.
Wow, that's amazing.
The film follows the lives of Black farmers in the South and explores their struggles, resilience, and deep connection to the land.
Sounds powerful.
The True False artistic director, Chloe Traynor, was really impressed by the film.
Okay, so Seeds is definitely going on my watch list. It's great to see festivals like True False giving a voice to diverse stories and perspective.
Right. Representation matters.
Now, for something completely different, we have to talk about Werner Herzog's animation debut at Cartoon Movie 2025.
Werner Herzog, the legendary documentary filmmaker, doing animation. I would never have expected that.
What made him decide to do animation?
Well, his film's called The Twilight World. It's based on Herzog's own novel, which is based on a true story.
A true story? What's it about?
It tells the incredible story of Hiru Onoda, a Japanese soldier who refused to believe that World War II was over and continued fighting for decades in the jungle.
Decades.
I know. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's a story that seems perfect for Herzog's unique style. It's amazing to see him trying new things and embracing new mediums, even at this point in his career.
It's inspiring.
It shows you're never too old to explore new creative avenues.
Exactly.
Speaking of new and emerging talent, there's another festival worth watching, the Smart 7 Festival.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of that.
This traveling festival showcases films from up-and-coming European directors, each representing a different country.
A great way to get exposure.
Right. And it kicks off at the Vilnius International Film Festival in Lithuania, and then travels to festivals in Portugal, Spain, Romania, Poland, Iceland, and Greece.
It's a really cool initiative to promote cultural exchange and celebrate the diversity of European filmmaking.
Absolutely. Now let's jump back over to the U.S. for the Slam Dance Film Festival, which just had its first edition in Los Angeles.
Slam Dance is all about independent filmmaking, right?
Yeah, it's always been a champion for filmmakers working with limited budgets.
And the winners are always so interesting.
Tell me about this year's winners.
Well, the big prize for narrative feature went to Gamma Rays by Henry Bernadette.
I'll have to check that out.
And the documentary prize went to American Theater, directed by Nicholas Clark and Dylan Frederick. And the AGBO Fellowship, which supports emerging filmmakers, went to Margot Budzina for Deuce.
So Slam Dance is a great place to discover raw talent and fresh perspectives.
Definitely a festival to watch.
Okay, before we head into the final part of our deep dive, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned so far.
It's good.
We've talked about California's struggle to stay on top and the UK's unexpected industry shakeups.
Right. A lot of change happening.
We've discussed some amazing new projects with some big names attached, and we've delved into the always changing world of distribution, focusing on collaboration, innovation, and all these new platforms.
It really feels like we're at a turning point.
One thing's for sure. The global media landscape is constantly shifting, with new challenges and opportunities around every corner. But one thing remains constant.
What's that?
The power of stories.
Yeah, to captivate us, to inspire us, and to connect us all.
Exactly. Now, get ready for our final act where we'll look at some of the specific deals and developments that are shaping the future of media. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the global media landscape.
The grand finale.
We've seen how California and the UK are dealing with some major shifts in the industry. We've explored some super cool new projects, and we've talked about the ever-changing world of distribution.
Right. Lots to cover.
Now it's time to zoom in on some of the deals and developments that are shaping the future of the entertainment world.
The deals, the moves, the things that make headlines.
Exactly. So let's dive right in. First up, Guy Ritchie's Mobland has moved from Showtime to Paramount Plus Stir.
That was a surprise?
Yeah, this series was originally going to be on Showtime.
But now it's going to premiere on Paramount Plus on March 30th.
And Pierce Brosnan is playing a mob boss.
Right? He is. And he's fighting for control of this global syndicate.
Pierce Brosnan as a mob boss, I can't wait to see it.
The cast is incredible. Tom Hardy, Helen Mirren, Patty Considine, Joanne Froggatt.
Wow, they're really going all out.
Paramount Plus wants to get people's attention with big names and great stories.
Makes sense. It's a streaming battleground out there.
It really is.
Okay, let's move on to the world of documentaries. ZDF Studios is teaming up with Docklights to make 3 new nature docs.
That's awesome.
Yeah, these documentaries are going to explore all these different ecosystems and highlight the importance of protecting wildlife.
Super important, especially these days.
I think we all need a good reminder of what's at stake. Now let's talk about Borders, a new drama series that's bridging continents and streaming platforms.
Love it when shows do that.
Borders was created by Daniel Lawrence Taylor, who was nominated for a BAFTA, and it's been picked up by Stan in Australia and Amazon Prime Video in Africa.
It's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, it follows 5 talented Black teenagers navigating life at a British boarding school.
It's great to see a story resonate with audiences across different cultures.
Definitely. This global reach is opening up so many exciting possibilities for creators.
Absolutely. And Borders getting picked up by multiple platforms shows the demand for diverse stories and fresh perspectives.
Now, get this. Sky has picked up the UK rights to a new animated Miffy series.
Oh, Miffy. I love Miffy. Those books were my favorite.
Mine too. The adorable bunny created by Dick Bruna.
So cute.
I'm so glad they're making a new series. It's great that new generations will get to enjoy Miffy.
It's amazing how those classic characters and stories never really go out of style.
They really don't. Okay, here's a deal that's shaking things up in the European film and TV industry. IPRVC has secured a whopping $25 million from the European Investment Fund.
That's huge.
I know. And IPRVC is a Finnish fund manager that focuses on financing TV and film productions.
So that money is going to be used to make more movies and TV shows.
Exactly. What do you think this means for European productions?
Well, I think it means more creativity, more innovation. We're going to see more amazing films and TV shows coming out of Europe, and maybe even more collaborations between different countries.
That's exciting. Okay, remember the Sidemen, the YouTubers we talked about earlier? Well, they're expanding their partnership with Fremantle after the success of their Supermarket Sweep reboot.
Smart move.
Fremantle gets to reach the Sidemen's massive online audience, and the Sidemen get to branch out and make different kinds of content. Everyone wins.
It's another example of how the lines between traditional media and digital content are blurring, which
Yeah.
I think is awesome.
Me too. Speaking of blurring lines, MUBI has acquired the global rights, except for Italy, to Paolo Sorrentino's new film La Grazia.
Oh, wow. That's a big deal.
MUBI is known for its curated selection of art house films.
And Paolo Sorrentino. He's the guy behind The Great Beauty and the Young Pope.
Exactly. And Tony Servillo stars in the film. He's worked with Sorrentino on a lot of his other projects.
This is definitely one to watch for all the film buffs out there. Now, here's a deal that highlights the importance of representation in the media.
I love hearing about this.
IPV, a major UK broadcaster, has pledged $80 million to support content from companies led by people from diverse backgrounds.
That's amazing. It's so important to see yourself represented in the stories being told.
This is a huge step in the right direction.
It really is. It's going to make a big difference.
Hopefully other companies will follow suit.
So that's a wrap. We've explored industry shakeups, exciting new projects, new distribution models, and some game-changing deals.
That's a lot.
It's clear that the global media landscape is changing rapidly, but it's exciting to see how the industry is adapting and innovating.
It's amazing to witness this transformation.
It really is. What surprised you the most during our deep dive?
I was struck by the sheer variety of stories being told. And it's amazing how technology is breaking down barriers and connecting people from all over the world. It's an exciting time to be a part of this global conversation.
Couldn't agree more. I'm feeling really optimistic about the future of entertainment. There are definitely challenges, but there's also so much talent, passion, and innovation out there.
Keep creating
Keep exploring, keep asking questions.
and keep diving deep into the stories that shape our world.
That's it for this episode. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and let your creativity shine.